Good morning and welcome, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. We're really thrilled to be with you all here today. I'm Teresa Trent from Infrrd, part of the business development team here, and I'm pleased to be guiding you all through today's session. As we set the stage, I'd like to quickly introduce the agenda, some housekeeping items, our panelists today. And I'm just incredibly thrilled. The entire Infrrd team is incredibly thrilled to be co-hosting this with our esteemed partners, FundMore, to bring you an honest, practical look at why automation in mortgage lending is no longer a nice to have. It's really a necessity. So you're here probably because you know something's not working the way it should in mortgage operations, and quite frankly, you're not alone. Across the industry, lenders are still struggling with bottlenecks, compliance risk, missing documents, and painfully manual processes that delay closing and drive up costs. But what if all of that could change? Perhaps today. We're here to talk about that change, and we've brought some of the most innovative minds in the mortgage technology space together to show you exactly what's possible. Before we dive in, just a quick few housekeeping notes to make sure you get the most out of this session. While today's webinar is packed with valuable insights, we also want to keep it interactive and engaging. So throughout the session, we'll be running a couple polls to hear your thoughts. Your input not only shapes today's conversation, but also helps us tailor future sessions to what matters most to you. So please engage with those polls as they are presented to you all. We're also saving time at the end for a live Q&A. So keep your questions coming, please. You can type them live anytime throughout the webinar in the Q&A panel in Zoom, and our experts will answer as many as we can during the session or at the end of the session. Okay. All right, so we're a couple minutes in. I am so thrilled to be introducing our panelists today. Let's get the show on the road. I'm so excited to introduce Infrrd's fearless leader, our CEO of Infrrd, a leader in AI-powered document processing intelligence, Amit Janagal. Also alongside him, we have the head of strategy and customer success at Infrrd, Anupal Gary. Of course, our esteemed partner at the FundMore team, the CEO of FundMore, Chris Grimes. The chief revenue officer at FundMore, also Kevin Clark. Stay tuned, everyone. We have a few special guests throughout the session that are going to be joining us as well. We're so thrilled to have these esteemed panelists alongside us today. They're not just here to talk about pain points. We're talking real solutions, real results, and we're going to showcase a couple demos of these solutions and what could be a total game changer for your mortgage workflows. This session marks a really exciting collaboration between Infrrd and FundMore, two companies deeply focused on solving real challenges mortgage lenders face every single day. Together, we're building faster, smarter, and more accurate workflows, starting from borrower intake all the way to audit and compliance. If you've ever wished your mortgage systems could think ahead and do more, this session is for you. So a quick agenda setting for the next 60 minutes, or really 55 minutes. We're going to be taking a closer look at today's lending workflows and why they're inefficient, why automation isn't optional anymore, it's necessary. We're also going to show a video walkthrough of how FundMore and Infrrd's IDP platform work together to eliminate delays and enable seamless document automation. Infrrd is going to do a brief product walkthrough of our mortgage IDP platform. And we have a few surprises, so stay tuned for those as we reveal them throughout today's session. We're also going to be showcasing a sneak peek at the Infrrd upcoming product and roadmap. All right. So to help us understand what's really happening across the mortgage landscape and why intelligent automation is becoming non-negotiable, I'd like to bring in the team from FundMore. With deep industry experience and a strong pulse on what lenders are dealing with day to day, they've been at the forefront of modernizing mortgage workflows. So Kevin, I'd love to hear from you and what you're seeing in the field.
Thanks, Teresa, and thank you to the Infrrd team for having Chris and I on today. It's a pleasure to be a part of this. Our company, FundMore, has really grown up with a firsthand exposure to the mortgage industry. Our senior executives have spent a lot of time actually in the mortgage field, and now being in the tech space, we've been able to really determine what drives better improved performance within the mortgage workflow. And we would argue today we're probably the best in class in the markets that we serve. And the product that we serve is really all around streamlining that workflow, providing replicability in the credit process and enhancing the communication between our customers and theirs. We're a B2B platform, and so our customer base are the lenders with or without a balance sheet that are serving the agents and brokers and direct applicants that are coming into the system looking for effectively, mortgage capital. And so we always have in the back of our minds as we build our products and services a very clear respect for our customers' ability to manage those flows and to manage and build the relationships and the reputation that they need to build their business. There is clearly, just to set the stage, there's a constant stress on cost to originate. The time taken to obtain mortgage, is stubborn in terms of getting those numbers down, and that's one of the things we try to solve for. And there still remains many manual processes in the flow that we seek to try to automate and improve the experience for underwriters and adjudicators and all those that touch the application flow as it comes in through to its funding and then servicing thereafter. For lenders, the credit decision is sort of table stakes. Whether they get the credit right or wrong, that's their business. What they can't miss is proper documentation. It needs to be accurate, informed, it needs to be complete, it needs to be, frankly, perfect. And so that sort of objective of flawless documentation together with a communication flow is probably the most important part of the whole application process. And intelligent document management is what's clearly necessary to manage the whole the whole relationship without flaws, because from an audit perspective, a compliance perspective, preventing fraud, all of this relies on, AI automation in the documentation space. And so what's really relevant to us as a key provider, as a key technology provider to our customers is to have a platform like Infrrd be part of our relationship in ensuring that there are no mistakes in that process. So those would be my opening comments, Teresa, just around the value and importance of documentation and how key it is to driving all of those points I mentioned, like cost, like time taken, and the whole issue of eliminating manual process. It's all about exactly what the two of us are working on together, and I'll pass it back to you.
Thank you so much, Kevin. So well said. Thank you for the points you've raised. This really helps describe and set the tone for where this conversation is headed. So thank you so much for your perspective. I'd like to now introduce Amit Janagal and ask him for some similar comments. Please, walk us through how AI is truly transforming mortgage operations and why this moment maybe feels different from all tech hype, perhaps that you've seen in the past.
Yeah, thanks, Teresa. This is an interesting time. We are going through a disruption of how work is done today. And sometimes the best way to understand future is to look at the past. Right? If all the audiences indulge me for a moment and try to imagine that the current year is 1967, and you guys are all working in a bank. We're all bank tellers. People come to you to take money from the bank, deposit money in the bank. You've got a good degree, you're making good money in the job. And one day your bank releases this thing called ATM. This new machine that can do your job. It can accept money. It can give money back to people who wish to withdraw it. It doesn't shut down, keeps up 24/7. How would you feel if you are in the job of a teller at that time? That tingling feeling that you get in your gut, oh my God, somebody's taking my job away, is what a lot of people are thinking about when they look at AI. Um, the other aspect of this story is it's very interesting to note that when the ATM came, the number of bank jobs actually increased. The number of banks actually increased, right? So it did not, overall, it was a positive influence on the banking business. It was not a deterrent. I think we are going through similar stuff with AI today. There are a lot of skepticism as well. Is it a hype? Is this actually going to solve somebody's problem? At Infrrd, we've always, since the time we started, we've invested in fundamental research on AI. And sometimes what that team produces, I mean, really scares me on how good AI is getting every day. Um, so we have this vision, right, that when in the time to come, most of the knowledge work will primarily be done by AI, right? Regardless of what you do, if you're a teacher, if you work in a bank, you work in mortgage, most of the work that you do today, AI will take the first stab at it, right? It doesn't mean that will not need people. People will step in and supervise the work of AI, but a lot of the grunt work that you need to get down to do the actual work around your knowledge process will get automated through AI. We have done a lot of things related to this, which we'll see in the demo today. But this is an exciting time. This is also a time to make friends with AI. The company and people who make friends with AI are going to thrive. More than a threat, I think this is a huge opportunity for everybody to take a fresh look at how work is done. And there are a lot of interesting things, but overall, like what ATM did to the bank, AI is going to be a positive influence on all businesses. Back to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Amit. Really appreciate your honest perspective. Well, great. We're off to a good start here, folks. Before we move on to the next parts of this session, we'd really love to hear from all of you. Amit talked about why this moment is different for mortgage automation, but we know that making a leap really isn't always easy. So I'd like to hear from you all. We're going to run a quick poll. Let's take a check on what might be holding you back. Looks like we don't fully trust AI yet. Our LOS makes integration hard. Budget constraints, you hear that? We're struggling to get internal buy-in, or we've already automated key workflow. Let us know your thoughts. All right, maybe just a couple more seconds here. Thank you all so much. Your perspectives are truly so valuable to us. Oh, wow. A very nice mix. Good stuff. I can't even tell you what the majority is here. We've got a three-way tie between three options. LOS makes integration hard, budget constraints, and internal buy-in. Very interesting. Thank you for your perspectives. Okay, folks, well, really excited to introduce the CEO of FundMore for this next piece. We would like to pass it over to you, Chris, on what lenders are dealing with today inside the LOS and how FundMore is helping simplify and accelerate lending in ways that feel not just possible, but practical.
Yeah, for sure. Again, appreciate everyone taking the time to listen to us today. That poll was interesting, but it's something that I think is the reality and probably would have shaped my comments anyways. Where we're constantly out there and speaking to lenders and in this environment and ecosystem, and I think the thing that resonates the most with us is the outdated technology stacks that or not just the outdated technology stacks, but also the patchwork outdated systems that are kind of bolted together to actually try to that people are forced to work in. We've actually come across some lenders that are up to 20 different platforms to take an application through the entire loan origination system, platform, to get it to funding. 20 systems, a lot of extra time just clicking in and out of systems. So one of the things that, that's one of the things that make it incredibly time consuming and really difficult to even understand. How would you even integrate a workflow automation solution into that kind of tech stack when you're operating on so many different platforms? So it's one of the things that, we're looking to solve here at FundMore. But there's also a huge disconnect between how, the data intake even comes into systems today, into loan origination systems, and into that workflow to actually make the decision. Underwriters spend way more time typically, or processors as well, or LOs, chasing the documents than we're actually spending time making the decision. Coming to a decision in most cases, it's a 30-minute activity for most seasoned underwriters on whether or not they can actually fund that type of a file. But all the stuff that goes around coming to that decision first, and then fulfilling that decision second, is where the bottlenecks start occurring. It's one of the things we're really focused on, is bridging the gap and transforming LOS workflows from a reactive to a proactive state. So basically allowing the system to make decisions and to support that workflow, not necessarily replace the people doing the work, but really enhance what they're doing and get them out of the grunt work of chasing, and spend the time that's on the work that's most valuable for them. Which typically we see, which is getting out of toggling between systems and just underwriting. And I think that's sort of where we're seeing the future heading, that and how we want to be part of that story, and why this partnership's so important to that document automation flow, that we can operate a much smarter, leaner, and truly connected workflow between how documents come in, how they're collected, how they're requested, and then how they're validated, and to sort of execute that end to end.
Thank you so much, Chris. We are so grateful for your partnership. So thank you for your perspective as well. I think we have a quick video from your side that perhaps we'd like to show. So I'll ask my team.
So maybe just before this thing turns on, I'll just kind of give some context behind that. It's just, we're what you're going to see here is really just a video that's going to show how easy it is in a one system solution to manage, collect, request, and execute and validate documentation through both the intelligent automation process of it, but also flag issues, create internal external communication flows and triggers, and then ultimately obviously just reduce the time to get to that decision. So with that, let's turn it on.
So to initiate a document request, you would simply need to navigate to the Conditions and Documents widget, and in the Requested Documents section, you can go ahead and create a new request. There's a couple of options here. The first two options, Request from Templates and Request Document, are what you're going to use to create a document request. Now, because the workflow for both of these options are similar, I will just go ahead and use one to demonstrate the functionality. So we'll request from template here. And the difference, of course, is with request document, you're requesting an individual document, whereas with request from templates, you're using the pre-configured list of templates in the manager portal. So here I'll select the purchase template, and then the request for will generally be the borrower, whereas the request from is going to be, for example, the broker. Once that's completed, then you go ahead and request a document. Once a document request is created, whatever stakeholder is selected in the request from field is going to receive an email indicating the documents have been requested on that deal. In the requested documents section, once documents have been uploaded, there will be a counter indicating that documents have been uploaded. These will be housed in the documents section. So there are two subsections here. View all just shows the list of all documents, whereas unverified is going to show any documents that have not been linked to a condition on the deal, and we'll cover that shortly. So once in the documents section, the lender can go ahead and start to review those documents. So there are three icons here, the comment icon, the view document icon, and the ellipsis. They all really navigate to the same page, so I'll just go ahead and select the ellipsis and review this. So here the lender has the option to view the document from this screen, download the document, print the document, and can open up this document in a different pop-up window in case maybe they would like to review it side by side the applications. There are a lot of options and functionalities available here. Another thing they can do is navigate to the comments section, which shows any comments that have been left. So this is the comment from the broker. Now the lender can respond back to the broker by simply entering the relevant comment and making it visible externally. So comments from the lender's point of view actually has two options. They can be made visible externally, or the lender can leave internal comments. And the difference is external comments are tagged with an external tag as seen here. They are visible to the broker. However, internal comments, you would simply just select this checkbox and then enter any relevant comments and send that. So this would be more relevant to the lender's team or anyone who has access to this application in the LOS. They can comment to the deal, and whenever they navigate to the comments section, they can view both external and internal comments. That being said, once the document has been reviewed, the lender can go ahead and start to action. So for example, if this letter of employment is as expected, then the lender can go ahead and accept that. Relevant comments can be entered in this text box, and then they would accept the document. This would update the status of the document to accepted, and it would be the same functionality for the rejected documents. So I'll just demonstrate that briefly here. And a good example to use would be the MLS document that was submitted. If we go ahead and view this document, we can see that as opposed to an MLS document, the broker has actually submitted a gift letter. So in this case, the lender may need to reject this document. So we'll go ahead and do the same thing, select the reject button, select the reject reason, and enter any relevant comments. So for example, I may want to tell the broker to resubmit. So then I'll go ahead and do that. Both of those decisions would immediately be going back to the broker, who can then go ahead and action whatever is needed. I'll just come into the notes section here to show you how the broker's notes is going to translate over to the lender. And from the lender's point of view, they can go ahead and respond to this note by simply clicking on the Add Note button and entering in the relevant text. Go ahead and save this, and this will then become available or visible to the broker. Now, something else that's really great about the IQ functionality is how well it works with the conditions functionality in the platform. So when conditions have been added to a deal, there is the field for a linked document. Now, what that means is essentially when this condition was set up, there were linked documents that were attached to this condition to show that they were relevant for this condition or needed for this condition to be satisfied. And what's great about the system is IQ and FundMore AI really do talk to each other in the sense that once those documents have been uploaded, they're going to automatically link to the relevant condition, which is great. As you can see here, you have the gift letter, and because we reclassified that document, the gift letter is now linked to this condition. The same thing with the fixed income condition where you have the pay stub and employment letters. Okay, so the last thing that I am going to be discussing here is the ability to send documents from the LOS back to IQ. All right, I'll go into the documents section and I'm going to upload a new document. So to do that, I will select the upload document icon for this state and select files. So in this case, I'm going to do a commitment letter, for example. And the document type, I'm going to select commitment letter. So we'll go ahead and upload that. And then what I'm going to do is go into the request a document section. So now I'm actually going to request a commitment letter from the broker, and I will use the request a document option. The document type will be commitment letter. The request form would be the borrower, and again, I'll request it from the broker.
Awesome. Thank you so much, FundMore team. Your team has really thought about real world issues and challenges and provided a solution that really addresses those pain points. So we're so pleased for this partnership and what our teams are going to achieve for lenders together. So thank you so much. Folks, I want to remind everyone to please leverage that Q&A section. If you've got Q&A questions for FundMore based on what you just saw in this video, or any other questions based on the points that our panelists have offered, please put those in the Q&A because we'd like to address them at the end of today's session. All right, great. So when FundMore collects the documents and borrower data, Infrrd gets to work with the document automation piece. And we're just, again, so thrilled for this partnership. Anoop, I'd like to really pass it over to you to speak more into this, if you don't mind. Anoop Halgari.
Thank you so much, Teresa. I'm personally very excited about this partnership with FundMore. Having worked with Chris, Kevin, and Moeed, who unfortunately could not join the webinar, there's a lot of synergy between the companies and how we think the mortgage origination and QC process can be redefined to leverage AI and automation at the core of it. We'll be rolling out several functionalities over the next few months to bring the experience together to all of our mutual customers. I want to give a glimpse of it, specifically on IDP, the intelligent document processing, which can be leveraged across various lifecycle stages of the mortgage process. Before we go deep into how it can benefit lenders, I want to start with the borrower experience. When Chris was earlier speaking, and we saw in the video the whole document collection process, FundMore does a great job to keep the task list, highlighting the documents that needs to be uploaded, all together in one centralized place. But borrowers don't always follow that. To be honest, when I went through the mortgage application process myself, I did do several mistakes. If you're on the loan processing team or on the underwriting team, how many times have you encountered a scenario where the borrower uploaded a blurry image or a pay stub that was too old to be considered for the loan application process? The first place we see AI can help would be to provide that instant feedback as part of the document upload process. The enhanced experience we are working is when borrower submits a document, the AI checks the readability of the document, checks if the pay stub is from April and not from January. And if you're uploading an image from a camera, ensure that the whole section of the document is captured and it is readable. AI can perform all of these checks and provide instant feedback to the borrower to ensure that the whole loan application processing time is not derailed by incorrect document upload processes. Coming to the lender side of the world, right? So when all the documents are uploaded, someone still needs to fill in the information in the LOS. To give an example, in order to perform income calculation, you need information from documents such as pay stubs, tax documents, bank statements, and all of those places. If you can click on the animation, it will probably show the process of how we can leverage AI to eliminate data entry through this particular process. The second piece that we're working with FundMore is the specific integration of once the document is uploaded, let AI perform the automated classification and extraction of the information so that the loan officers can just review it, trust the high accuracy of the information that is extracted, and begin their process of decisioning. As Chris was saying, right? So that only takes some amount of time to take the decision, but all of the information that is required to take the decision needs to come together. AI can help automate moving documents to the appropriate e-folders in the LOS, help extract all of the information so that a lot of time is not spent by the loan officers and underwriter. Further down in our roadmap, we're also thinking of how we can leverage AI to analyze patterns in data. Think about a bank statement and the transaction table of the account summary. AI can tell you the recurring deposits, the typical expenses by analyzing the bank statement. You can also flag if there were large deposits or unusual transactions that might need review from loan officers or underwriter. It's all about bringing focus to the right kind of data that needs to be extracted to enhance the user experience, to reduce the manual activity from the loan officers and everybody who's actually involved in this particular process. At the end, we bring all of this together through our QC solution. Infrrd's Mortgage Check AI, which is part of our demonstration today, we analyze the loan packages in the due diligence process, post-close process, to ensure information consistency between the documents that are generated and with any third-party systems or LOS that needs to be compared for data consistency checks. As I said, I'm very excited about what together FundMore and Infrrd can do to optimize all of these particular different stages on the mortgage lifecycle. Thank you for listening, and over to you, Teresa.
Thanks, Anup. Awesome. Thank you all so much. So this is great. I'm really excited to introduce this next, hopefully fun part. I'd like to introduce my colleague and friend who we've been working with to provide solutions to our customers here at Infrrd, Ankit Bengal, to the call. Ankit will be spearheading the demonstration from Infrrd side for Mortgage Check AI. Over to you, Ankit.
Thank you, Teresa. Let me share my screen. All right, I hope you can see it. Great. Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining today's insightful webinar. Let's, dive into the demonstration part. So what we will demonstrate today, give me a second. Yeah, so we'll demonstrate today, what you're seeing on screen now is a visual representation of like a streamlined loan processing workflow, right? That Infrrd platform can process. So we'll demonstrate the efficiently, indexing the loan package, intelligently identifying all the missing documents from your package, and then doing the critical part, which is, doing the loan data consistency audit, which means making sure all the data in your documents matches across, various documents in the loan package and against the loan package and the LOS system. Let's move to the demo part. All right. So what you're looking at right now is a demo loan package. It has various documents like a closing disclosure, a loan estimate, a desktop underwriter. And if you notice, you have a few documents which are poorly scanned. Like this example, page number 36 is scanned 90-degree anti-clockwise. And there's another page, 37, which is scanned upside down, right? Imagine if you were to manually sift through page by page to classify these documents and, figure out where one document ends and the second document begins, could take hours, right? And especially if you look at the image here, which is totally scanned, like, very poorly scanned, you can't even read it, right? If a human can't read it, let's see how the system will be able to handle and manage this accurately. So what I have on my screen is the same demo package loaded into it. If you notice on the left, all the documents within this, 86 pages long PDF individually identified by the system accurately. Like page number 1 to 24 is your appraisal document. Page number 25 to 36 is your desktop underwriter. Now, if you remember, we had page number 36 rotated, right? Look at this. So it's not about just identifying the document. Even before you go into the advanced AI and process these documents, what we do is our pre-processing takes care of all these human errors, right? Like scanning the documents, upside down or poorly scanned images. So that's the true power of, the AI platform. Next up, you have the evidence of insurance. So all these documents are individually split and labeled correctly. Along with that, we also identify if you have multiple disclosures and multiple loan estimates, we can individually label them initial, revised, and final. So that's part of the tagging and versioning. So that's the first module. The next part is identifying the missing document. So once we index these documents, immediately our automated missing document detection will flag all the documents that are required to process this loan package based on the loan type, based on the lender. You will have a dedicated checklist. System will automatically flag these missing documents, and you can just download a report of these missing documents and send it to your lender. So seamlessly, you get the instant, report of missing document and get those verified before you move to the next stage of loan processing in the workflow. Now, from indexing the document, identifying the missing document, We also do the borrower reconciliation. So when we get the data from an LOS system like a FundMore, we receive the loan package, we receive the data also with the loan package. We do the reconciliation of borrower. We identify all the borrowers from your loan package and match it against the data that we receive from the LOS system. Along with that, we also help you detect the borrower names from all these documents and do the auto reconciliation. So you don't have to figure out whether I'm looking at the pay stub of borrower Jane Doe or a pay stub from John Doe. Right? System will automatically reconcile the documents for these borrowers. Along with that, it can also help you do the versioning of the document. In this case, you have 3 closing disclosures issued on 3 different dates. System automatically identified that these are 3 different closing disclosures, and based on the data present in the document, it can easily set the right version for you. So it detected this is the final closing disclosure. Similarly, for the loan estimate, you have 2 copies of loan estimates. One was issued on 8/13 and same day it was issued, but is a revised copy. So system can easily detect and figure out, which is the latest copy for you. Now, if you are looking at my screen, you will notice this closing disclosure that we reviewed previously was very, scanned very poorly. Now let's look at how the system, did the data extraction for documents like this. Right, if you notice, it's very hard for a human eye to even figure out what is written here. If I zoom in for you, you can't even read it, right? And look at how system, accurately extracted all of this information, which is hard for a human eye to even read. So that's the power of, advanced AI that we use here for extracting all this information from these documents. Moving to the third part, which is the most critical part, which is your, data review. This is where the true, powerful data discrepancy audit comes into the play. This module performs the audit across all the document, cross-referencing the data points extracted from these various documents, and even against the external data sources like FundMore LOS system in this case. So you don't have to, have like a 3 screens set up. On one screen, you have the loan documents. On second screen, you have the LOS system data pulled out. And third screen, you're making notes whether all the data matches across the document and against the LOS system. Within a matter of seconds, you can easily see the property address coming out of all these documents, like your loan estimate, your lender closing disclosure, your loan application document, evidence of insurance. All of these have the same property address, and it matches against what we receive from the LOS system. Now, what you notice here is the property address mentioned in the appraisal document is not matching against what you have in LOS system. And you don't have to open the document and look for the information. Just click on the document icon, and right there, you can see the information that is extracted from these documents and just validate why it is not matching. So in this case, we are highlighting the property address city is not matching against the LOS value. And same for the text certificate, the entire property address is different. Now imagine these discrepancies can cost you, time, your, cost, and various other, challenges in your processing. Another good example is the legal description. Even if you look at, word by word, it will look like it is matching against what you have in your LOS system and coming from the title commitment. But very easy to miss error like this. Look at the county. The county is the different value here between document and the LOS system. So that's about, how easily and quickly you can identify all the discrepancies across your document, identify all the missing document from the loan package before you begin any of your, further processing in the workflow. Moving to the next module is the CD balancer. Similar to the data review, the CD balancer helps you identify all the discrepancies related to, loan financial information. For example, it can easily match your cash to close information from your loan estimate and your CD closing disclosure against the LOS system. We do it section by section. So for every section, you can audit the data if it is matching against the document and LOS system. Easily identify all the fee-related discrepancies and help you do the closing faster. And the final thing is organizing the documents. So the way the documents are received in a loan package, not organized, not scanned properly, the system can easily generate a reorganized, stacked, bookmarked loan PDF file, which can help your loan closers and underwriter easily review the documents. So you may want to organize your document like URLA on the top, disclosures followed by application, underwriting, and insurance related document. We help you organize all these documents based on your configuration. Whatever you saw today is all configurable, highly configurable, based on the templates that we provide. And you can also add and, modify all your checklist based on your requirement. That's pretty much it, Teresa. Over to you.
Thank you, Ankit. So exciting times. Thank you so much, team. We're thrilled for this. I'm thrilled to be here with all of you. It's a really exciting time in the industry. So thanks for those of you who are still with us. I would like to ask you all now to participate in our final poll of the day. So please let us know, how do you feel? And do you feel ready to bring automation like this into your workflows? Do you think you're ready to go now, need some internal approvals, still exploring options, or not sure it's the right fit just yet? Let us know. We'll give you a few minutes, or a few seconds rather. Okay, drum roll. Let's see those results. Okay, just by really, we've got another tie. So a lot of people say they're ready to go now. Some say they need internal approvals. So good stuff. Thank you all so much for your participation. I want to call out that we know automation adoption can look different depending on your org structure, tech stack, or even your culture within your organization. But what we're seeing across the board is the teams who move first are the ones who build momentum and who get the fastest wins. So what you saw today is the current reality of how automation can help your teams. So we're really delivering results collaboratively, and we'd be thrilled to speak with you all further. So I'd like to now bring back Amit Janigal to share a quick moment of what is coming next.
Right. Thanks to our partners, Kevin, Chris, for your thoughts, and Ankit for a very good presentation. So this is, like I said, an interesting time. AI is disrupting quite a lot of things. There was this interview that the NVIDIA CEO gave, and where somebody asked him a question saying, "Is AI going to take away my job?" And I think the answer was very profound. He said, "No, AI is not going to take away your job, but the person who uses AI to do your work is going to take away your job." Right? This is something that we've all been through. I remember when I was in school, there was a time when computers were introduced at work, and one of my uncles who used to work at a financial services company was totally panicked, saying, the computers are going to do everything that people do, and we may not have a lot of stuff to do. But we are all doing a lot more work. But the side effect of that is what we used to get done in an 8-hour day. Now we get it done in an hour or a couple of hours. So new productivity standards are going to be set by companies and teams that use AI to do a lot of the grunt work that they need to do in order to do their job. The successful companies are going to be the ones that embrace this change and make friends with AI quickly. We are also going to launch another product next month on automation for mortgage, which pushes the envelope a little more. It's like an end-to-end workflow automation around mortgage data checks. We'll probably do another webinar then when we launch the product. Some of you have seen it in our preview version in one of the conferences that our team was at. And we got very encouraging feedback for that. But I think products like that are going to be the norm going forward on how work is done. Exciting times, and the brave teams that make friends with AI fast are going to do really great in the time to come. Thanks, Teresa. Back to you.
Thank you, Amit. Wonderful. Chris, I am pleased to request your thoughts, final closing thoughts on the industry, or anything that you'd like to share to round us off today.
Yeah, I mean, first, I just agree with a lot of what Amit said there. I'm actually excited to see what this new product is too, and see how that might be also something else we can help deploy throughout the workflow. But Yeah, the part that we talked about a lot of automation here today. I resonate sort of the same statement. That the takeaway for me as we go forward into this new AI era is that automations are here, AI's here, and it's really about empowering teams to do their best work, with the most confidence and the least amount of headaches. And so those that can figure out how to embrace it will achieve that sort of outcome, and perhaps get to the sort of 4-day work week you see in other parts of the world today, because they can actually leverage these types of tools, which I think would be a nice win for a lot of people in the crazy world we live in. But from our perspective, FundMore, we really we came, as Kevin said, out of these lenders, out of this mortgage world, and faced these same challenges that our customers and potential prospects and other lenders are facing today. And we really just believe in deploying practical technology, not just for innovation's sake, as you would, not just building stuff that no one's going to use, but really thinking about how we can deploy technology to move the status quo forward and make things easier and simpler. And we're just getting started. Obviously, we're starting to see some together collectively some positive wins. And I think as we get closer and closer with some of the customers that are working on both our platforms, we're going to see some huge milestone wins in automating those workflows. So thanks again for having us on today. We're excited to be here and what the future is going to hold.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you, Kevin. So pleased to have your thought leadership alongside us here today, and incredibly grateful for your partnership. So thank you to you and all of the FundMore team. All right, folks. Well, there you have it. We're close to wrapping up this final piece of our time together today in this webinar. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us. I would like to pass it over to Anupal Gary for the final piece of addressing perhaps any questions in the Q&A. I think we've got a couple or maybe a few. And
Yeah.
perhaps as we're expanding on these things, if anybody would like to add more questions, bring it.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody, for staying all the way through. There's some interesting questions. I'll take Amit. I'll call you upon for some questions towards the end. But let me take the top ones first. So how long does it take to integrate IDP and LOS systems? So we are a technology-first company from an Infrrd IDP platform. So the integration is via APIs. So we're working very closely with FundMore, one of the systems, and the LOS that we integrate with. There are several touch points, but most of it will be through APIs, seamless integration between the ecosystem, so that either the borrowers or the loan officers don't have to hop on to multiple systems. That's the roadmap and path for these two systems to work together. But most of the LOS systems as well are API friendly. So we see that being the path to integrate the systems. The next question is similar around can Mortgage Check AI work alongside legacy systems, or does it require a full overhaul? We are working towards, as I said, integrated experience. It does require API-based integration. So it depends on the kind of legacy system you might be on. But we believe in providing the consolidated experience for our customers. Amit, if you don't mind taking the next two questions on the agent-based approach and the solutions.
Yeah, sure. Anup, I'll do that. The first one is how does Infrrd's approach differ from traditional RPA solutions or other automation solutions? I think the main difference between RPA solutions and the agents are the intelligence part. Right? RPA solutions today work on recorded macros that they can replay. Right? Go here and click on this coordinate on the screen and stuff like that. They don't inherently have a lot of intelligence, which is about to change. An agent, for the lack of a better term, is like a person, right? Who's going through a business process and also has intelligence, which it can apply with the the process to make decisions. So it's a lot more potent. You have it's a lot more hands off. You don't have to spend a lot more time in training an agentic solution. It can learn on its own quite a bit. The second part is the future. The second question is the future of agent and agentic solutions, can they make independent decisions, or do they need human input at every step? So a lot of work that is going on agents today is fairly basic, right? We got started on working with agents little earlier than most other companies. So I believe our solution is like at least 18 months ahead of everybody else. There are challenges on agents that a lot of people have not figured out yet. But they don't need human intervention at every step. The great thing about a learning agent, right, is if you tell it correct its mistake once, it should be able to learn from it and not ask you to for the same input for the same conditions again. And that's, I think, one of the defining differences between RPA and agentic solutions as well. You don't need to give input at every step of the way. You can review everything that they have done, look at the log and see what happened where. But over time, as you work with them, like you work with a new colleague, right, you will start to develop a baseline of what agents are good at and what they fumble with. And you'll figure out a pattern on what are the 20% of the things that you think you need to step in to help them, and what are the 80% of the things that they usually don't make any mistakes doing. It's an exciting time, but you don't have to hold their hand at every step of the way.
Maybe I'll just add like one other comment. We're doing a lot of work around this as well. I think, it's sort of a scary word, this concept of, well, an agent's a person and we're going to let this AI agent do all this work. I think the other context to it is that you can actually put these safeguards and these steps in place to keep the human in the loop. So the agent can do that 80% of the work, and then you become the master agent. You're the person's actually validating the work on top of the agents that are validating and doing the work. So it's the cool thing, I think, about how we think about this AI agentic solutions that are being rolled out and are evolving is that it's going to enable a whole bunch of different workflows, ones that we haven't even envisioned yet, about solving different parts of this mortgage workflow, both from how humans interact with it and how the agents are working on their own.
Cool. Thanks so much, Chris. There's one last question, and I'll hand it back to you, Teresa. The question is around data accuracy. How do you ensure data accuracy in complex documents? So that's a very important aspect when it comes to AI and automation solutions, right? The legacy solution, which used to be there back in 2010, 2015, has all been around coming up with templatized solution around documents. It got a fixed template, solved for automation through that. The more recent solutions, the solution of 2025 is how do you leverage artificial intelligence and natural language processing to process all of these particular documents as if a human would. It's all about understanding the context of the information and delivering and extracting information to be consumed in the business process. We've done a lot of work on this. It all requires iterative feedback-based learning for documents being extracted through the system, provide human corrections, and bring in consistency there. But some of the work that Infrrd does is also around ensuring accuracy in the data that the system has extracted. How do you rely on the information that the system has extracted is bulk of the work that Infrrd does as well. We'd love to kind of sort of demonstrate this or schedule deeper conversations to show some of these in action. With that, I would hand it over to you, Teresa.
Thank you, Anup. Actually, I think there was one final question. I might have marked it. So perhaps I will just answer it live. The final question is the mortgage tech AI customizable based on compliance needs or internal processes? And of course, the answer to that is yes. We'd love to showcase this and talk more about this with any of you per your interest. But Infrrd's strategy and our approach is to provide solutions that are highly configurable, highly flexible to adhere to your workflows, your internal requirements, and how your business operates. So absolutely, we can mirror the requirements in your compliance needs or other internal processes, even if that's, changing things per loan type or, just other things and how your current operations is highly, highly configurable. Okay, I think that's, wait, oh, we got another question. We might want to answer this. What part of the lending process do you think is most overdue for automation, and why hasn't it happened yet? Chris or Kevin, would you guys like to answer this?
Yeah,
Yeah,
so I
Chris,
think
you go.
I was gonna say, I mean, there are 4 buckets I always talk about in this where I think a lot of automation needs to be done. Obviously, document review and automation in this is one that isn't holistic, across the board, really fully adopted yet. I think we saw that in the first poll. I think also at the beginning of the stage, so what's happening from when the LOs and mortgage brokers and mortgage teams at banks are submitting that application, or customers are going online and submitting that application with those documents, that information is often incorrect. Is where a lot of the inaccuracy and challenges start. So and a lot of that is because of these legacy technologies not being able to interact properly. There's been a ton of money put into front end point of sale solutions. The technology on the back end for lenders, for the most part, hasn't caught up. And so there's a big bottleneck there where if we could streamline that and the two systems could talk to each other better, you'd actually remove a lot of the redundancy that happens in the back office. You'd be able to solve it between the two systems. And for me, that's the big one. I think the second one as well, that's another one that doesn't seem to be anyone's really getting into tackling, is in the closing process. And you think about the re-adjudication that happens post instruction. And that's another challenge. Again, a lot of it has to do with outdated technology and these systems not being able to talk to each other efficiently. And I think that's, there's another big place there for automation wins, something that we're looking into right now as well, about how we can work with other parties that are looking to evolve that space. And the underlying current, which is why I want to know more about this new product, is that this data check across the board could really help support that type of automation across the entire end to end, from the minute someone decides they want to buy a property to the day they discharge their loan. Like there's the entire workflow. So could be supported by stuff like that.
Thanks so much, Chris. Amazing, everyone. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. Many thanks to our panelists, and of course, huge gratitude to our partners at FundMore. Thank you for your expertise and partnership. Reminder for everyone who's joined us, please reach out to us. Please reach out to FundMore. Add us on LinkedIn. We're happy to chat with you. We will be sharing a copy of the recording to you all following our call today. If you would like to learn more about efficiency improvements and what's possible for your business through automation, I would love to chat with you. I'm sure the FundMore team would as well. So just a few last things for our attendees. If you'd like to try out the things that we've discussed today firsthand, see it for yourself, we're offering an exclusive free trial to anyone that's a part of this webinar today. So drop us a note in the chat or reply in a follow-up email. We'll get you set up. Also, please be sure to follow Infrrd and FundMore on LinkedIn, subscribe to our YouTube channels, keep up with all the advancements we're mutually making for the industry. We will drop the links in the chat, and that's where we'll be sharing upcoming features, customer stories, and automation tips, perhaps for you all to consider and that you might not want to miss. So I think we're right at time. Thank you all. This has been an incredible experience. I hope you all agree. And we're very grateful to be a part of this journey with all of you. Thank you very much, and see you next time.
Thanks,
Thank
Teresa.
you.